I'm Jen Vassarab, and I'm here today to talk to you about sex. More specifically, how to talk to your child about sex. Sex is still a somewhat touchy subject even in today's society. However, because of its prevalence in society, it is necessary to provide our children with the knowledge they need so that they can be safe. Please, stop me and ask any questions you may have. I want you to leave here today feeling confident and knowledgeable. There will be a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. So let's get started. There is one key element here I want you all to leave today with. You as parents are your child's first line of defense. You want your child to be able to come to you with any questions or issues they may encounter in their daily lives. You are their safe information center. Our goals today are to get you to understand why discussing sex with your child is important. You also need to understand how the information you give your child shapes their attitudes about sex in the future. We will learn at what ages some questions will be asked and how to answer questions age appropriately. We will also give you tools on how to answer the difficult questions and how to broach some difficult topics. I will go over the different ways to prevent pregnancy and STDs. Any questions? Let's begin. So, why are we here today? We are here today so that we can get a better understanding of the importance we as parents play in shaping our children into healthy and happy adults. That begins with understanding that discussions about sex are necessary and important. So why are discussions about sex important? Talking about sex with your child helps build healthy attitudes towards sex and teaches responsible behaviors. Being able to have open and honest communication is important in building a trusting relationship with anyone. When talking with your child, you are better able to teach consequences regarding sex. Since you know your child best, you can best teach them the consequences of sex. For instance, my mother was a teen mother. She was able to tell me her experiences as a teen mom in a manner that I would understand the gravity of the situation. Many studies indicate that children who have discussed sex with their parents wait longer to have sex and use contraception. Parents are able to build trust with open communication, and this fosters confidence in making good decisions in their child. Being able to talk to your child about sex will foster open communication about any topic. If your child is confident that they can come to you about anything, then they will feel safe in coming to you to ask questions, get advice, etc. Sex education is lacking. Abstinence-only instruction may not be the way to go. In 2006 to 2008, 1/3 of teens aged 15 to 19 had not received any formal instruction on contraceptives. Out of teenagers aged 18 to 19, only 41% reported that they knew little or nothing about condoms, and 75% reported they knew nothing about birth control pill. These statistics reflect on a flawed system. Why do parents need this then? This class. Relying on the schools only to teach our children about sex just isn't working. However, 42% of middle schoolers and 36% of high schoolers report that the quality of information they received from parents was very good or excellent, which means we as parents need to step up our game. There is also a lack of parental instruction. Parents don't seem to be discussing sex with their children, even at age-appropriate levels. So if parents aren't discussing sex with their children, who is? You would think the school system would step in, but like I said earlier, sex education is lacking. 93% of teachers agree that sex education should be provided in schools. However, they only somewhat agreed that they would be willing to teach sex education, only felt somewhat knowledgeable about sex topics, and felt somewhat comfortable teaching them. If the schools are unable to provide in-depth, concise information, then it is up to us as parents to either provide the full picture or fill in the gaps. I would like to show you what studies had to say when they asked teens some questions. When it comes to your decisions about sex, who is most influential? 46%, that's nearly half of teens aged 12 to 19 listed their parents as the most influential on their decisions to have sex. Do you wish you were getting more information about abstinence, birth control, protection, or both? Again, nearly half of the teens aged 12 to 19 wanted more information about both abstinence and protection. Now that we know the reasons why we are here, let's see how we should talk to our kids. But first I want to show you a video.
Spermatozoa formed in the testes, enter the caput epididymis, progresses to the corpus, and finally reaches the cotta region, where they are stored. I need to know if you're gay. You're gay? Joe kissed me at recess. She did what? What does my penis stand in? Ask your mother. Ask your father. Ask her again. How would I know? I don't have a penis. What's a period? Type of punctuation. You need to pay better attention in English class. Can you get pregnant the first time you have sex? Not if you don't have it. But you never will. Can I get birth control? No. No. Nope. No. No, 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 no. Can you have sex at my age?
In the video, did the parents seem comfortable answering the questions?
No.
So they gave us some tips. The tip number 1 was assure your child that it is okay to ask questions. In watching the video, I could see where a child could be confused when one parent refers to the other and it turns into a tennis match back and forth. Tip number 2. As with any issue your child may face, listening is highly important. Additionally, if you don't listen, then you will be unable to fully understand the question and you will miss the opportunity to learn what they already know. Tip number 3. Provide accurate information. This has to be one of the most important tips there is. There is a plethora of inaccurate information out there for your child to hear. It is important for them to get the correct answer the first time. So what are some other ways that we could talk with our children about sex? Seize the moment. Anytime there is an opportunity to discuss sex, you should start a conversation.
How do you approach your kids about the topic?
If you heard them talking with a friend previously about a certain topic, you could bring that up in a safe setting. Like if you were driving in the car down the road, you could say, "Hey, I heard you and Susie talking about this. What do you think about that?" Or if you were watching a movie with your child and there was a topic that came on, like, say, teen pregnancy, you could bring that up with your child and say, "Hey, do you remember that movie we watched? What'd you think about that?" Any opportunity you have to bring up a conversation about sex, you should seize that opportunity. Be honest with your child. If you are unsure of an answer or you are uncomfortable, tell your child. But like we saw in the video, if you don't know, offer to look it up together. If you are uncomfortable with searching the internet with your child, then do it alone and bring the answer to your child. Remember when you asked about blank and I wasn't sure? Well, I looked it up and it's this. Make sure that if you do this, you tell your child when you'll get back to them and you follow through. Be direct. Make sure you tell your child your feelings about specific topics while giving them unbiased facts. If you disagree with abortion, say so, but detail what an abortion entails. Consider their point of view. Teens are under a lot of pressure from their peers, so be sensitive to the pressures they face. Don't attempt to scare them away from sex. Don't just feed them the facts. Go beyond the facts and have a real conversation. Teens need facts, but they also need to know your feelings and views on sexual topics. Discuss any religious beliefs and expectations with your child. Foster discussion. All day we have been driving this point home. Let your teen know that it is not only okay to come to you with questions or concerns, but that it is wanted. You want your child to talk to you, so make sure they understand this. Now that we know how to talk to our kids, we need to know when. When is it a good time to talk to my child about sex, puberty, pregnancy? Children aged 2 to 3 can understand the correct names of body parts. Do not use slang at this age. Use terms like penis, vagina, breasts, anus, testes. The correct terminology will get them thinking in the right direction. Children aged 3 to 4 can understand where babies come from. If a child asks you, "Where does my brother come from?" "Well, sweetie, he came from your mommy's tummy, and inside mommy's tummy is a uterus." And you can point to your stomach where your uterus was, and the child will understand that they came from your tummy. Children aged 4 to 5 can understand how a baby is born. When children ask where babies come from, the easier response is that the stork brings it. However, this is non-factual. The correct response would be to explain that the baby is in mommy's uterus and the baby comes out of mommy's vagina. Children aged 5 to 6 understand a general idea of how babies are made. At this point, they recognize that boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. Explain to them that sperm from daddy and an egg cell from mommy came together and made them. Children aged 6 to 7 understand the basic idea of intercourse. They can understand that male and female bodies fit together like a puzzle, and that sperm travels out of the penis and swims like a tadpole to the female's eggs. Children aged 8 to 9 can understand the importance of sex. They can also understand the basic explanation of just about any topic. Rape, for instance, they can comprehend. Rape is forcing someone to have sex, and that is not okay. Children aged 9 to 11 deal with the changes that occur in adolescence called puberty. This age is where you see many sex education programs begin in school systems. Children aged 12 begin to form their own opinions about sex, and their sexual attitudes are beginning to form. Now that we know what topics are appropriate at what ages, we can talk about some of the bigger topics, like puberty. Here's a handout developed by Stanford University. It is designed for 8th graders. You could use this as a cheat sheet when going over puberty with your child. Let us briefly take a look at it. In this handout, there are 5 teaching methods. This first method references sexuality as not just a biological topic, but also a philosophical topic as well. This could lead to a discussion about mood swings and social pressures. The second method focuses on the changes that occur in puberty. You could reference a change that you have noticed in your child. Hair growth on the underarms, for instance. The third method describes the reason for these changes. Hormones, like estrogen, testosterone. The fourth method details the reproductive system for both male and female. On page 9, here you see the reproductive systems. You can use this as a tool to show your child where these systems are inside of themselves. The last method they reference is the message that it is their right to choose their gender identity and their gender role. You may feel strongly against homosexuality. However, it is important to listen to your child. Remember that by listening, you create trust, and through trust, you create a bond that fosters open communication. Another important topic that I'd like to talk to you about is pregnancy. Teen pregnancy is a hot topic. We have shows that highlight teen pregnancy like Teen Mom and 16 and Pregnant. Some say that these shows highlight the negative aspects of teen pregnancy, and others say that it promotes it. Regardless of what you believe, teenagers watch these shows and others like them. It is important to tell your child how you feel about teen pregnancy and your expectations for their future. Let me tell you some statistics. In 2008, teenage girls aged 15 to 19 had a pregnancy rate of 71.5 pregnancies per 1,000 women. In 2006, the teenage birth rate was 41.9 births per 1,000 women. In 2006, the teenage abortion rate was 19.3 abortions per 1,000 women. So what happens if your child does become pregnant? What are their options? The idea here, of course, is to ensure our children don't become parents before they are ready. But what if they don't know your expectations? The options available to every teen are adoption, abortion, keeping the baby. Your child should know your stance on each. If you are religious and are against abortion, your child needs to understand this. Now back to my question of what happens if your child does become pregnant. One thing you need to talk about is how much involvement you wish to have helping your child. This could help influence the decision they make. Some other things to be aware of. Teen pregnancies carry many health complications. Teenagers are still developing, especially emotionally. Teenagers need to understand that the choices they make affect the pregnancy. There are consequences to becoming a teen parent. Do we have any teen parents here that would like to share their experiences? Yes, sir.
Well, I was 17 when I became a father, and I was pressured from the beginning from the mama's parents to get a job, have to support this kid. Couldn't really go out and do what I wanted to do anymore, and pretty much I went from 17 to 30 right off the bat. But I don't know, if I was scared to death. We hid it from her parents till about 6 months. It's when they found out. And was there another route we could have gone? Should we have gone to them first? I mean, they weren't really supportive to begin with.
How did that make you and the mother feel?
Oh, we were scared to death. We actually went to the clinic once or twice, but I have strong beliefs against abortion, but it was, in the end we decided, keep the baby, but I mean, we were scared to death. I mean, we were 17 and 15 years old.
What do you wish your parents would have done for you at that time?
I wish they would talk to me more often be more comfortable so I could at least came to them. I mean, it was scary it was very scary at the very beginning, because my parents weren't talkative and her parents weren't talkative, so it felt like we were just trapped.
That's such a shame. But thank you for sharing. I'm sure the class appreciates that, and we get a lot of information and gain a lot of knowledge with that. Thank you. Some other consequences that you could deal with. One consequence we all have to deal with as a society is that nearly 80% of unwed teen mothers end up on welfare, and a third of teenage mothers only receive a high school diploma. There are teenage parents that can become successful, but it depends on many factors. Community help, personality, life experiences, support, etc. Involving all of these factors shows that teenage parents have a difficult road ahead of them.